A bum bum ba da bow. A bum bum ba da bow. Yo, whoa, Friday, man. Everybody's working for the weekend. Market Vitals is the stream. MarketVitals.io is the trader community. HFR from the floor. Miss trade, Matt Davio.
Hey Bob, are we gonna? What do you think? What do you think? Are we gonna end a week red this week? Is that possible?
I gotta tell you, Matt, in the age of ambiguity and the age of irony, an incredible amount of stuff going on worldwide, and some of it being covered, some of it not being covered. The one that jumped out to me was, in the Twitter sphere, people talking about the massive First Amendment right demonstrations in the Cuban community, and how peaceful and the people shared some interactions between these Cuban people and the police in Miami, and how there's no altercations, right? There's just a peaceable demonstration. In fact, so much so that the police are giving a parade to the demonstrators.
Right. They're happy to have people like them.
Unreal, and again, you hear nothing about it.
Nothing.
Mainstream.
Crickets.
Mainstream, well, and maybe because this is what mainstream media loves to push. Twitter always comes through, Matt. And thank you to this tweet. What's the magic word to get what you want, little Billy? I'm offended. That's right.
That reminds me of the headlines this week. They did pick up on Chrissy Teigen's going through a little depression after basically being canceled from Twitter and Target and everywhere else. Are we supposed to feel sorry that she was fucking rude? You know what? I mean,
are you saying there's crack in the offended line of pushing everything?
Well, now she's claiming mental health issues because it's just really getting to her and nobody likes her anymore and blah blah blah. She's married to John.
Well, maybe she can talk to Mark Cuban because his NBA players suffered so much. He's probably got a good line on some head work. Unreal.
America's game, I think, is back though. I think basketball is no longer the America's game. As we come into Game 5 after the rig's back on. Like I never liked the NBA. I never liked the NBA as a kid because it always felt rigged compared to college.
You know what? I got to tell you, I have mixed emotions about this because I want to say on one hand, shut up, you gambled, the calls didn't go your way. You can always complain about the refs or the fix was, on the trading floor. I think I heard the fix was in because not only did people trade, right? They gambled their asses off, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, did you see that backdoor cover? The fix is in, yada, yada, yada. But watching the game the other night, right. I mean, 2 clear tips out of bounds.
Yes.
Right. Should have gone back to the Suns. Not even in the age of replay everything.
And
right?
the look on the players' faces was like this.
And then
can you replay that?
Right. All of a sudden, we have no technology to see that the guy definitely went off his fingertip, the one, and his foot, the other. It's ridiculous. I don't know.
America's game.
All right.
By the way, Pete Alfonso, who won the home run derby, which was, I'm telling you, that guy hit bombs, and his salary he's not there as an all-star. He's there to hit in the home run derby, right? He's not even an all-star. So I don't think. And so he was invited because he hits these bombs. And his salary this year was $600,000, and he won in 2019 also. Guess what he wins for winning the home run derby?
1.2.
$1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So, I mean, and then they showed, I saw some tweets yesterday where it was, and some video, of course, because everybody's got a phone, everybody's got a recorder. And they were at a bar in Denver post-game, he and his buddies. And, it was like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And they must have like early shutdown rules. All the waitresses were like, all right, out of here. Time to go. And he literally was like this. Bob, he was like this. The video was him just sitting there going, Are you kidding me? I have so much money in my pocket right now. I just won the home
Right.
run derby.
I want to
You're gonna get paid so much in tips if you just stay open.
another round for the
Wrap
bar.
it up. Get out of here. The
Another
young
round
girls
for
were
the
like,
bar.
we don't care. Get out of here.
All right, Matt.
She was offended. I think she was offended, Bob.
Well, yeah. Well, she's in the comic strip. Your Detroit Lions. I got to tell you, I said this as we were warming up for the show. I think Aaron Rodgers wants to leave Green Bay because he's terrified of the Lions. You got a new coach who is a no bullshit, no shit. You know, he's the guy that should not be allowed to coach Pop Warner, right?
Right.
Screaming in the kids' faces and knocking kids
Spitting
over.
on them, knocking them down.
Right. But as an NFL head coach, you know, I think he's going to do great. And he's got a, let's face it, the guy's incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Right? Goff.
Yeah.
And he's got a smoking hot model girlfriend, wife.
Yeah. I mean, he's been to the Super Bowl too. So he's got some, you know, and he didn't
I gotta
win,
tell you.
which I like. Like he got there, didn't win. And he got there definitely on defense, right? I mean, the Rams had that defense that year that was pretty darn good. And he put up some numbers, but he just did not perform that game, which, again, you got to get there once. I think, you know, not everybody's Tom Brady. You just can't win every effort that you get there.
Make me puke in my mouth. All right, Matt. And on the same trajectory here, Barry Sanders. Ridiculous, right? And let's go to the real. Happy birthday, Barry Sanders. Let's go to the real. I can even go full screen up. What happened?
I don't know.
John Lynch. Sit down, John Lynch.
He's now the GM though of you know. Well, I mean, how did he stay on his feet? Right? You were just like, what? Jock straps were torn, egos were broken. Every play, Barry Sanders was on the field. He never got tackled. I think when he finally and he retired early because I think he was starting to get tackled. He was like, "This isn't fun. I don't want to get tackled."
There's no doubt. Love the old Buccaneers uniforms too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Bears. Not, you notice how there's not a lot of highlights against the Bears because we shut them down. No, we didn't.
Nobody did.
All right, man. Let me get out of there.
By the way, we do have a guest coming. We do have a guest coming on today. We're going to talk uranium, which you and I are not by any means well versed in. So I can't wait to learn. I want to go nuclear, Bob. I want to go nuclear.
Yeah. Well, you know, before we get there, we have a little bit of time. So let's cover a couple other things. Price discovery wise, let me lead it in.
Well, how about let's talk a little British Open. Like, you know, you said.
Well, wait a second. We got to get to some price discovery. Then we'll get back to the British Open.
All right.
Vax. You get a lap dance if you get the Vax, apparently. And then.
Is that at Jason's or was that at the Cheetah Club?
No, I'm pretty sure that was in the UK. And
no.
That
was Canada. That was Canada.
Oh, that was Canada.
Yeah.
Some great strip joints in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I've been told. Anyway, this one on a more serious note, right? The vaccines by this tweet. I'm not saying yes or no that this is actual information, but Alex Berenson actually says it's the vaccines are failing astonishingly. The UK very vaccinated, cases going up, and then our good friends at Moderna benefiting from the vax ecosystem, right? Moderna shares up 7.5%. Pre-market set to be added to the S&P 500. Great for them.
Yes.
And then also I saw a tweet somewhere else saying that the $19.50 vax, that's the price tag on it, that you and I don't pay, but Uncle Sam for sure is picking up the tab. Now they say they're going to push that price to $125 next year.
Well, you got to pay. You got to pay for all the door-to-door salespeople. They just hired salespeople, right, to go door to door.
Wow.
So they got to pay for those people, Bob.
All right, let's look at the chart. Moderna. I mean,
yeah, you know, it's interesting because it had been running. So obviously,
bring it up. There we go.
People knew that this was coming, and today is like the blow off of it, right? It had been running 5 days, 6 days in a row. and really 2 weeks in a row. We were at 193 just back here June 16th. So a month ago, we've doubled, Bob. We've doubled. And even though these vaxes don't seem to really be working or doing, I don't know, it's like you're better.
Well, they're for sure working supposedly on the degree of sickness being perpetrated out there.
But why, but again, take your antibody test before you take a vaccine. If you got more antibodies than this thing can give you, why would you take it? It makes no sense. So, anyways,
let's fractal out because
Moderna. Well, fractal out. It's at all-time highs today.
Right.
We're at all-time highs. Broke out 288, 299 was the high. We're up 9% now. And again, you could have bought this thing, May of last year, 80 to 60 to 80 bucks, and here we are, 5-bagger. It just came, just started trading in 19, even though the company's been around. And again, 16 to here, 320 from 16's right about where we are, 300. So you got a 20-bagger. Now it's being added to the S&P 500, so it's not going away. This narrative is not going away. Olivia Rodrigo is with Dr. Fauci yesterday, making me puke, paying the 18-year-old TikTok music star. Matter of fact, if you got to watch the video, you got to watch the 3-minute, 4-minute public service announcement those two did in the little sit down in the room somewhere in the Capitol or whatever. It was disgusting. It really was. And yeah, I wonder how much stock Fauci owns.
Well, for sure. I mean, I've seen some other threads on that. There is a line, a conduit for profits to go to the NIH and then to the people individually. That story's all going to come out, by the way.
It will.
Hey, man, listen, no, we talked about Amazon yesterday. You brought it up, actually. Yeah. And then I saw this tweet today. I love the tweet. Amazon now 3554 area. She'll hold together. A Star Wars little gif going on with the tweet. Bring up the Amazon because we both have this. It's starting to show up on the chart. Maybe a few cracks here in the stock market, and for sure.
Well, I mean, we talked about this. You have to spend like a week above this breakout line, and let me fractal out. I'll go out a little bit further, Bob, because we've talked about this line ad nauseum, really going back to last summer. We've been in this range, right? We've been in this 28, 2,900 up here to about 3,700. We cracked all the way up here to 3,773 this week again, early in the week. And now I'll fractal out and show you this. And we peaked here. This was, I believe, on, this was Sunday, Monday, right? This was the open of the week. So we made the high again here on a gap, and it's just been selling the whole time. Matter of fact, the breakout, once we got above that line, is not being respected at all. We're fully, on the 610, as you like to say, hasn't quite rolled over on my momentum indicators, which is a custom job here in the green, still green, but on the 610, but it's back in containment zone. And to me, it looks like, the battle line's still back here at 3,200. So nothing's changed. I'm not super, I'm bearish for sure. I mean, you can use the backstop of the old high, which is only 100, 200 points higher. So this thing is sold off, Bob. It's already sold off 200 points, which, amounts 230. So, 230, 370, what is that? 10% is 370. So you're sitting right at about, 6-7% sell off already. I mean, that's significant. It's not bullish. This is not a bullish start again. It's rolled over. I would be careful. It looks like to me it wants to go and test this. It's not now in the long term. It's got to kind of stay below this area for me to be like super bearish. But right. The short-term trade right now is definitely bearish.
Right on.
Until we can close above and outside of that range on a weekend.
And what is the market cap?
The market cap is sitting at 1.8 trillion. Not quite the 2.5 trillion that Apple ran to, but fully insane for sure.
Unreal. And Jeff Bezos, what I didn't know, a Cuban of Cuban descent.
Yeah, and he was at Nobu last night in Malibu, apparently with his new hot little Maria Sanchez girlfriend and her kids. He's a good stepdad. He's taken out her and all her friends to the most expensive sushi place in Malibu. So. And that's just, a week or two before he takes, or when does he leave? Does he leave the 20th or the 30th for this, when that big magic dick that he flies? Have you seen the rocket?
Yeah, he's going to space.
Yeah, but the Blue Origin, and he's taken like an 82-year-old woman who had greater numbers. Have you heard this story? Her name is
No.
yeah. So this 82-year-old woman back in the day when John Glenn was testing all this, tested better than John Glenn. She was like a way better astronaut, way better pilot. But because she was a woman, she got screwed. So Bezos is playing the card, right? And he's taking 82-year-old Mrs. Funk, or whatever her name is. I think it's something like Funk, up in the Blue Origin Dick rocket. It looks like a dick.
Matt, you shared inside the network a great article about space, and not just the egos that are being, it's amazing the egos and the size of the ship that needs to fly them. But I pointed out a few things on space that just blew me away. Most glaring, I think there's 3,600 satellites right now orbiting the blue dot, right? And they're projecting in the next 10 years that to go to 50,000. What could go wrong there? What could go wrong with 50,000 satellites?
Now, this one's kind of interesting,
around?
though. I do want to see this thing take off and land, right? It's one of those, propels up and then it comes down. Rockets, I believe. I'm not sure though. We had Kitty Hawk with Branson, so we had Kitty Hawk doing there.
All right, Matt, we got a guest. We love having a guest.
We've got James Sykes, who is CEO of BaselodeE. Hopefully we'll get him coming in here.
There's James.
Hello, folks.
Hey, James, can you hear us? We're live and we're on the air. So thank you for joining us today, James. And you are the CEO of BaselodeE. And Bob and I are fascinated by this subject because we don't know anything about uranium, if we're being
that's
quite
a
honest.
shame. That's a big shame, but hopefully you guys know about nuclear energy.
For sure we do. And we're going to let you basically run the show here. You can run the interview. But for sure, nuclear energy, I think, is back on the radar more than it has been in several decades, for sure.
Agreed.
And in a positive way. So why don't you just start off with BaselodeE, uranium, the actual the business model that you guys are involved in, and then we can talk broader about nuclear energy. We like to talk nuances here, James, and I'm sure there's plenty of nuance in the future development of nuclear energy worldwide. So take us away. Tell us about BaselodeE.
Absolutely. No, it's a great format and very happy to be on the show with you guys. BaselodeE, we're considered a new company. We formed in June last year, did our IPO at 10 cents by the end of December 2020. So within 7 months, we had reached $1.20. Now, a lot of that was retail and institutional investors, I believe, banking on my past success. Now, I've been in the industry, uranium exploration in northern Saskatchewan, Athabasca Basin area for the past 15 years or so, and I have about 550 million pounds of U3O8 discovery to my name. That's direct and indirect discovery, most notably leading NextGen Energy's Arrow discovery.
Tell us a little bit. So I'm curious, like, is this, is it like coal? Is it like gold? Like, how do you find it? Where is it found? How do you find it? What technology is used to discover it? How do you extract it? Again, it's very interesting to me to understand a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah, well, uranium's everywhere. It's in the soils, it's in the water that we're drinking. So you just probably had some uranium in that water. But it's obviously all low concentration. It's not harmful to anybody's health.
Right.
Uranium, it's a naturally occurring element. It's everywhere, but it's only mineable and extractable in certain quantities and grades, concentrations. But depending on the jurisdictions that you're in, if you're in Africa where operating costs are lower, then you can extract lower concentrations of uranium. So there are many different forms. I think there are 17 different type of economic commodities out there that you can find uranium: black shales, sandstones, volcanic bodies, igneous, unconformity deposits, veins. It's just such a broad thing. But when it comes to exploration, which is what I focus on, the Athabasca Basin area of northern Saskatchewan is the preeminent jurisdiction for uranium discoveries and economic uranium recovery. Now, I say that because Athabasca is known for extremely high grades of uranium. If you consider that the global average deposit grade of uranium is about 0.15% U3O8, the average Athabasca grade is, sorry, I just got to turn that off. The average Athabasca grade is anywhere from 1% to 4%. So orders of magnitude higher. So you're able to mine much smaller volumes and pull out more concentrated rock.
Okay.
I've been on 2 drill programs where I've held 80% uranium in drill core in my hands. Now, I challenge a lot of people to find other commodities or with similar grades. Like, can you go to a copper discovery and find 80% copper or zinc, 80% zinc in drill core?
Right.
I don't really come across those type of occurrences. But yes, twice, 2 different projects in northern Saskatchewan, and I know there have been other projects in northern Saskatchewan that have also had 80% uranium in their projects. So it's a, not going to say it's a common thing, but you won't find it anywhere else in the world. So Athabasca Basin, that's definitely the premier jurisdiction for high-grade uranium. They're all veins. It's all structurally controlled. So there's a lot of geology that has to be applied, and it's not. It's got a lot of different time frames to it. So you've had sandstones come in and just cover the rocks, and then the fluids from the sandstones have helped promote uranium deposition and uranium formation, but then they're all associated with structures. So you get the fluid chemistries that you have to look at as well, fluid pathways, and you got to think of structural pumping. So where you're going to have draw points and vacuums and things like that. There's a whole bunch of science that has to go into it.
So it's got to be a very laborious, expensive process then.
Not expensive, no.
Not expensive. Okay.
Comparative to what? Like
it's the same as any other drill program you can imagine. Like it's the same as looking for gold.
Like it's not like strip mining or is it?
If you make a discovery close enough to surface, you can do an open pit. If you make a discovery at depth, depending on where you are in the Athabasca, you can go underground, and also depending on the size and the grade of everything. But it's just similar to any other commodity out there. The same exploration. You're running mostly geophysics to image the subsurface. We rely on a lot of EM geophysics, magnetics, resistivity, gravity, things like that, things that other commodities use to locate their deposits as well.
So James, we talk a lot of, we're traders, we talk price discovery. I've never traded uranium futures. I wanted to bring up a chart just to, again, this is a guy that doesn't trade it, not active in it,
Yep.
don't know anything about it. It looks like the continuous contract has been trading on the COMEX going back to about 2006, 2007. Was it never traded publicly before that on any type of market? Do you know?
Yeah, it was not a tradable commodity at that point, correct?
Okay. And then so really since onset, it's been dripping down, and to me, again, this is a 15-year chart. It looks to me like it's starting to bottom and turn up. So that's a favorable sign, I would think, for your business model.
Absolutely.
And the extraction of that. So tell us a little bit about where the company intends to, benefit and profit for the shareholders.
We've got 3 exciting projects, all located outside of the Athabasca Basin itself. So most people think of Athabasca Basin as where you have to explore. We see things differently. We're looking for what we call basement-hosted, near-surface, high-grade deposits. Things that if we can make a discovery within 100 meters or 200 meters, we see that as being open-pittable. Okay. So we're taking some unique approaches, trying to make discoveries on our projects. Now, we've done a lot of the grunt work to get to this point. We've flown a lot of airborne geophysics to start picking out our targets. We still have a few surveys that we're just trying to wrap up, and then we'll be drill ready. So that's our next step. We're going to be drill ready by August and October for 2 of our projects. So this is right around the corner for us, and we're very excited to finally get these drill programs up and going. This is where we hope to make the returns for our investors, is with the drill holes.
And let's talk a little bit about what ultimately happens to the product once you discover it, once you extract it. Where does it go? What are the sources that are buying it from you, and what are they? Let's talk nuclear a little bit, because that's what everybody associates with, but it's not, probably not. I mean, how do you break out the market the way you guys look at it, or is it all going to, that type of production, nuclear production, uranium production?
Yeah. You're asking questions that are, years ahead in the future. So it's really difficult to get a good handle on it.
Okay.
I can't foreshadow the future, unfortunately.
All right.
But what we do plan to do is, obviously, if we can make a discovery, and our thesis holds true that we can make a discovery near surface, and we believe that our exploration and even development costs to develop the size of the resource would be much smaller than most of our peers, because we'd be doing smaller drill holes, or I guess less length. We'd be able to put more drill holes into a ground in a smaller amount of time for less dollars per drill hole. So we can expedite defining a resource. Once we get to that, then we'd have to go through all the stages with PFS, EA studies, environmental studies, but we don't know what is going to happen depending on a discovery. Maybe a junior would come in.
Right.
If everything looks good, or sorry, a mid-tier company or a major company, somebody like a Cameco or Orano, Rio Tinto, who purchased the Rough Rider project from Hathor Exploration. I used to work for Hathor, so I'm very familiar with the story. That's one of our hopes. But again, it really depends on what we have in front of us. Does it look like something that we could move on our own? We don't know, but we'll do whatever's in the best interest of our shareholders, for sure.
Okay.
And let me ask you this broad stroke, and I kind of hinted this coming in. It seems that there's an awakening back to nuclear, basically globally, and it has to do with the fact that renewables are going to find a very challenging landscape to fulfill all the needs, and that's why I think nuclear is coming back in. Any grasp of the gates and the Montana, I think it's in Montana, where they're going to do a small scale nuclear facility. Do you have any insights into that side of it, the production of electricity through small scale nuclear?
I just have the same information that other people have access to via news, but I do read a lot of what is going on both in the nuclear space and the renewable space. I'm actually for renewable energy. I think they're a great idea, but I'm very realistic, and I know that they cannot, even with batteries, you can have as many batteries as you want. They're not baseload power. And I think people really need to realize that if you want baseload power, you need nuclear energy.
Right.
People used to say hydroelectric power, that's the best baseload power out there. What's happening in Lake Mead? Lake Mead's drying out.
Yeah.
And the idea of renewables, again, great, but they're limited to what the environment can throw at them.
Right.
Nuclear energy is constant. It has the highest efficiency rating of any energy source out there. Coal's 70% efficient. Natural gases, they're about 60, maybe 50. Solar is 15. Wind power is about 30% efficient. Nuclear energy is 90 to 95% efficient.
Right.
When you say you're going to install a 1 gigawatt plant, you're basically going to get a gigawatt of power from it. But if you say you're going to install a gigawatt of wind energy, you're going to get 300 megawatts of that. That's a huge difference.
That's a huge difference. Yeah.
Nuclear energy has been around since the 1950s.
And it's very efficient, very safe.
Extremely efficient.
Which
it
again,
is safe.
Is unfortunately, because of accidents that have happened and dramatization of by Hollywood, it gets exaggerated.
Well, tell me what accidents. What accidents? I know you guys don't know. You guys don't follow nuclear energy. You may not know the history, but what name?
The only ones I think about are 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl.
Exactly, and that's all anybody ever thinks about.
I know.
But that's it. That's all. That's what everybody's fear is based on. Yeah. Now, Fukushima, which was the incident that happened in Japan in 2011, which is that chart that you showed. Everything looks great up until 2011. Fukushima happened, and then nuclear just bottomed out.
Yeah.
So that was a major impact. Let's consider Fukushima before I get to Chernobyl and 3 Mile. Fukushima was, it's on the coastline of Japan. They put it in place before geologists knew what plate tectonics plate tectonics were. So the people knew they had tsunamis, but they didn't know what caused tsunamis. Now that you know plate tectonics exists and there's structures that cause these tsunamis, you can almost put a periodicity to it. So, modern engineers would say, no, we're not going to put anything there. But then I asked the question, what if that was an oil plant? What if that was a big solar field, and you had the tsunami crush all the solar panels, and you get everything dispersed into the ocean? Nothing really happened with Fukushima. People are coming back. There was, a lot of the radiation was contained within the facility. They evacuated people. There was a little bit of a leakage, but everyone's coming back because everything's back to normal, basically.
Sure.
Chernobyl was a flawed design, and nobody has ever built anything since. 3 Mile Island, how many people still live in the area without having any issues or anything?
Yeah.
Because nothing really happened there. Nothing really happened.
In fact, I saw in Chernobyl, the wild horse population is exploding.
Yeah. Well, the entire ecosystem there is very vibrant, and some of the documentaries I've seen, it's beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: you're in Canada, and by far as far as I can tell, one of the major pushers of environmental policy and climate-driven policy. What is the headwinds from the government of Canada that you're seeing, or if you're not, or good or bad?
It's the same headwinds from every other government jurisdiction across the world. Nuclear energy faces the exact same things. It's number one is fear from the populace, because they don't understand it. And as soon as you mention nuclear energy, everyone starts to think, boom, Chernobyl, Chernobyl, Chernobyl.
Right.
Despite over 70 years of the safest form of energy production, and that's on record. You can find these stats all over the internet. Nuclear energy has the safest record amongst any energy source out there, and that's including Chernobyl.
Right.
So it's facing that fear. To be very honest, it does have long lead up times. So you're not going to put in a reactor.
Well, I'm sorry, Matt.
What happened?
I muted him somehow. James.
Yep, I'm back.
There he is.
No worries.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess, where was I? Oh, yeah, it takes long lead up times to build a nuclear facility. That's where small modular reactors come in. Is that the idea is that they can be built much quicker and for less cost.
What's your personal opinion on those? Because
SMRs are awesome.
I think find it interesting. Yeah, we really do.
They are the renaissance for nuclear energy. They can be deployed anywhere. They are safer. They use accident tolerant fuels. There's a lot of benefits to going SMRs versus the old school, much larger facilities. And SMRs can be deployed in areas where you can't get other resources. They can be deployed anywhere. And
let me ask you this: can you retrofit existing like coal and natural gas facilities, or is that not part of the thought process?
I honestly don't know. I haven't seen much in the way of that, so I'm assuming that maybe hasn't been part of the thought process. But it's just kind of get back to the topic that you guys were asking. I guess one of the other headwinds that nuclear energy does face is what to do with the spent fuel. There are a lot of reactors that are coming online that are also using uranium waste as additional energy. So they're squeezing the orange for more than what you can get.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have concerns about what do you do with all the waste. So if you're not using it for additional energy, what do you do with it? Well, my honest opinion, you can just put it into the ground underneath the water table where it doesn't have any reaction with the water, where it stays in its stable form. And you put them in safe casks that will not react. You're not in an oxidized environment, so you don't have to worry about rust or anything like that. It's I think there are a lot of reasonable things that you can do with nuclear energy.
I love hearing James. I love hearing this because, right? I mean, we're educating people here. That's what we're trying to do. We're educating ourselves.
I do it all the time too.
Right, and I love to hear this. Like, like this is such a positive narrative to me. If you want clean, efficient energy, and yet we're, like you said, we're still chasing around. China's got.
I mean, the number of coal plants being built worldwide is staggering.
It's increasing, which is blowing my mind.
Right.
Everyone's calling about, we have to reduce CO2 emissions. But now I've just read in this past week that we're building more coal energy. Yeah. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Well, because we allow China to do whatever they want, and they're not part of the Paris Accord and all this, bunk.
Well, they're part. They're not beholden to anything.
Well, they don't have to participate until 2050 or something like that. I mean, they're literally not a part of it.
Yeah.
All right, James, baseload energy
China
is the best way to be involved in it through the stock purchase. It's listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Is that correct?
Yes. Toronto, we're on the venture, TSXV, under the symbol FIND. We're also on the OTCQB as BSENF. You can find us on LinkedIn as well, and also on Twitter.
And your website is Baseload, LO.
Here it is right here. Look at that. See, we have a production facility here.
There we go.
The truck said, let's bring it up. Baseload energy, correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, James, really appreciate you spending some time with us. And
we're going to reach out to you again, and we want to hear about the success you're having. So thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And anything else you want to mention before, we want to be respectful of your time. So anything else you want to mention before we say goodbye, just let us know.
Yeah, no, I think we're all good. Just for your investors out there, for your followers, I would highly recommend to follow Baseload Energy. We're about to kick off our first drill programs. I've got a very strong track record of making discoveries in the Athabasca Basin area, so I'm really hoping to do this again. Our share price is at a very reasonable price, and we do have the lowest amount of shares outstanding amongst all of our peers. If we can make a discovery, I can see us jumping up quite a bit. We've already shown that we can go at 12 times return within 7 months, and that was just purely based on speculation. If we've got the results behind us to back us, at least on one of the projects that we initiate our exploration, I think we're going to be a huge striving success.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, guys. Love the Han Solo in the background too.
Thank you. Han Solo.
You still got him there.
Thank you, James.
Very welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, Matt, what else do we got?
What else do we have? We've got, let's talk a little British Open. Let's
talk British Open.
A little pop in there.
Your betting strategy seems to be panning out fairly well here, Matt.
So far, I got the top 3 horses, which was never a bad thing going into the final 2 rounds. The field gets cut in half, obviously, after today. They're projecting, I think, around +1.
Yeah, +1.
Yeah. So, that gets us to, I think that's around 60 players right now. Yeah, that's 60. The guys that are just on the border there, which I think, Ricky Fowler's right there at +1, Lee Westwood, Justin Rose. So they might make the cut. And then I saw, everybody's, favorite DeChambeau. He was like a +2, but I'm not sure where he is right now. I'm trying to look. John Rahm -1. He's on the 8th hole. Again, a lot of players already done. Xander Schauffele made the cut. I like him. Again, these are just like, some of the guys that are still out there that aren't really in contention today, but they're still involved. And as you know, anything Brooks Koepka -3, he's right there. That guy he's at 18. Tony Finau's at 11. I think, but Colin Morikawa, I love this kid. I said, he's an amazing player. His head is so solid in this game. I mean, look what he's done this year. He won at the Memorial. It wasn't the Memorial. And then, he almost won at the Memorial. Like there was back-to-back weeks. You remember that last year? And then he had a solid performance at the U.S. Open, really, had a chance to win there. Spieth is playing well. He hasn't won. And Louis Oosthuizen, who has won a major, is a heck of a player. And again, you got to root for South Africa right now. And South Africa has number 3 and 4 and 5. Actually, they have number 2. Number 2 is tied for second. They got number 4, and they have 2 guys tied for number 4, all South Africans. So South Africa has 3 guys in the top 4 right now, Bob.
Wow. All right, Matt. Everybody's working for the weekend. So if you did good this week, if you did bad this week, it doesn't really matter if you can go enjoy your friends and family. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right, Matt?
Yeah, it is. It is what it's all about. But on a more serious note, we kind of brought the show in with the spoos, and they're sitting at the
Oh,
lows.
yeah. You know what? Let's talk about the spoos.
Let's talk about it a little bit, because I think today might be I want to look at a real short-term chart and just give you an idea of what I see here. If we were to close here, we would be red for the week. Here's Monday. This is our close last Friday, which, got us to right around 40. I think it was right around 62, 63. And we're trading 30, or we're trading 45 right now. Had a little bounce. We tested the low that we set overnight there, yesterday rather, 32, 33. So it's going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing rallied right to where where we closed last week at 61. But right now we're down 16 points, which, Bob, is 1/3%. It's nothing, right?
It's nothing.
It's nothing. But what I will say is this formation here going into the close is pretty bearish. Short term, right? We're looking at a 1 week. I'm going to go to a 2 week here, because that's kind of how I look at markets. I look at a day, I look at a week, I look at 2 weeks, I look at a month. That's kind of how I kind of break it down from there. And you do need the multi-time frame when you're factoring your trades. And again, understand that I think, and you and I kind of agree here, that really, unless they can, again, get to another new high, this is really heavy. The time that we spent this week really chopping, really choppy, right? We made new highs back-to-back days, but they were so marginal. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and here we are Thursday with the little sell-off. Not, again, remember the high was 43.84. We're at 45. We're not even down 1%, all-time high. So there's nothing that really happened this week. But if you're looking forward, which as a trader you should be, there's some warning signs here. I think we've got it right now. The battle's going to be 42.80, right? I think we need to test this again. That was the one where we went down that one day hard. That was that, we're like, are we starting something? And then we went all the way back, right? So that was last Tuesday, Wednesday. We recovered, but now we're sitting like where we were again. And we spent some time up here. We couldn't get to the magic 4,400 that I kind of expected to see. Maybe we still do. Maybe we're done. But I think this 42.80 needs to be tested, needs to hold. And then if it doesn't break right through, I mean, you got to be, to me, this becomes a very bearish chart. Very, 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 very bearish.
Say that 3 times.
Ugh, I know. And then you see, here's a month, right? You forget that just a month ago, we were at 41.26. It's crazy to think that we went 260 points, which again, 6-7%, and the spoos on what happened? We had the test here of this line, and again, this 42.80 line is going to be key, and you see it. That plays out in the longer time frame. So I just want everybody to be thinking about this going forward next week. Earnings have started. The banks, a lot of Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Goldman, all beat, but the stocks aren't really performing that great. And they've had a heck of a run in their investment banking numbers, but nobody has been hitting the, this is how it goes. Like, it's rare when these banks are hitting it out of the park in all aspects of their business, which typically is trading and investment banking. Those are the big money drivers for these big banks, right? And if the market is not reacting so positively, and we can just take a look at one just to go through this, but if we took a look at Goldman Sachs, again, down $6 today, down 1.5%. It had a little rally into the earnings, and it didn't even see the old high that we had there in June of 393, Bob.
Right back into balance.
We're right back into balance, and it's kind of the same story you're seeing on the spoos, right? It's right at the key point. It needs to stay above here to be bullish, and we're going below, and we've had earnings, and looking forward, we're down now, 384 to 367 since the earnings. So, we had a positive response, but it didn't keep going, and now it looks to me like it wants to go test a little lower, just like the spoos. So there's a change of character, and this is shown up in the smaller caps. The smaller caps have not been performing well the last 2 or 3 weeks. And you're seeing it in some of the big names. Although Apple, We talked about Amazon. Apple hit all-time highs, but again, I would never fight that company. I really don't like to trade it, but it had a huge move. Again, a parabolic move. These moves are just unbelievable. We go in a month from 122 up to 150 on Apple, and we haven't talked about it in a while. This is just a 1 month chart. And again, I don't want to buy that here. It's a $2.5 trillion market cap. 0.6 dividend yield. It doesn't pay you a lot to hold the stock, which is surprising to me, right? It's it's pure capital.
All they do is print money.
Yeah, all they do is print money. But again, how long? I don't know. I wouldn't bet against it, but I'm not bullish it right here at these prices.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see the same thing. Even though the standard deviation lines, one fractal has to lead into the other for me, and the 610. We love that one, the 610 minute. That's fully rolled over. You got downward sloping bands, but the daily and the weekly for sure haven't. And we're not even out of weekly up momentum yet. And that's going to come in, it comes in this week at that 87 level. So near your 80 level. Next week, I would imagine it's going to come in somewhere around 4,300. So there's a little nuance. On a standard deviation modeling, it's going to be out of a up momentum below 4,300. And then, if you can get below 4,280, your level of that longer term profile, then it starts to get interesting. It always has to turn on the shorter time frame, right? Before the longer time frames change. And this for sure hasn't turned around on the daily or the weekly. It's out of upmo on the daily. It is not out of upmo on the weekly, but that 610, for sure, I think that's a different tone, that chart is fully rolled over and you have collapsing potentials on the 610. I'm going to stay short for the weekend, Matt. There's so much going on in the world. That shorter time frame is rolled over. We don't have the longer time frames rolled over yet, like I said, but I don't know. The world seems like it's somewhat powder keg-ish.
It does.
It looks like something could go nuclear worldwide somewhere.
Sorry, James.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stay short for the weekend.
I think it's a good move. I'm short the SPOOs from this morning, right from the start. I didn't have a position. It's funny, you and I were talking yesterday, and you thought something might happen last night, which, again, you try to, and the market, reacted positively. So I got a good night's sleep. You stayed up all night, and I wasn't expecting.
I actually didn't. I kept the tight stop. I got stopped out, and I resold them on that run up, which was fine. And I'm going to stay short for the weekend. And
it's interesting. The other thing that I find we haven't talked about, because it was a big play for us at the turn of the year, the calendar, was the XLE, the energy ETF. We loved it at the end of last year, and when it was trading down here in the 25 area, and it went all the way up to 56.70. And it looks to me, again, we got a little channel forming in here, kind of. The 45 to 56 level, again, short term, really just going back a quarter. But seems to be a little change of character going on in the oil sector here. A lot of the names are off. Crude is still, it also sold off. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to make of it, but I'm pointing it out because even money is fleeing crude right now, which is the first time in a long time, really, since Biden took over. That we've seen a little weakness when it comes to
for sure too. I mean, the economics of it, and you're seeing.
Well, it's just like lumber, right? I mean, there's only so far you can go. And,
absolutely.
And this was that line. I said 77 we'd see, and we pretty much banged it, Bob. 76.88. And as you'll recall in the fractal, that was a low from this move back in 11. So these are multiple years. You don't just slice through this because you want to, right? Short-term trading, again, the long-term chart still overrides the short-term chart. So you got all these buyers that are trapped still. And so just getting back to that 77 put on a big push of buyers, because that's where the thing broke down before. So all you're doing is testing the breakdown. And I don't see we could go to 110, but right now we're back contained. And so I bring this up just to say that, hey, be careful. It might be, we said it last week. It's a little late in the oil game to be chasing that thing.
I agree. And just like lumber, when it was making its highs and I was at the coast and I said, I've never seen so many lumber trucks in my life. They were lined up down the highway.
And by the way, lumber today, back with a 5 handle. Remember, it was at 1770, Bob, and lumber is trading. It was down to like 540 earlier this morning, a new low on the move, and fully looks to me like it's going to trade back to that $350 level. I mean, that's where the point of control has been on a longer term chart. I'm not saying it gets there next week or two. Now it's going to be a lot of like back and forth, slowly dripping down. From the 500s down to, we're trading 550 right now on lumber. The low, again, down there around 540. So this thing's really been hammered. I mean, if you look at a daily chart, you're like, holy smokes, that thing's just I got to show it because it's unbelievable. The right side of the parabola never fails. Never fails. I love the right side of the parabola, by the way. 1744, we're down to 544, down $1,200, Bob. And that took us May 10th to today is July 16th. It took no longer than 2 months. 2 months
to build the deck again.
2
months. The deck is back on the drawing board.
Yep. 2 months to bury what took a year to get, right? We went from 270 to 1700. And now we're back to 540. We're going to go to this level. This is normalization down in here. We're not quite there. It'll work there though. I mean, again, don't catch the falling knives. Sell the rallies. It's oversold for sure. It's way oversold. Again, if you're not involved, you miss the easy money. And that's my point. We were talking about it here.
We had a freeze. He's frozen.
And here, and he'll break and then get in. There's plenty of room on these breaks. When it breaks, it breaks. And it goes, I mean, look at that. It's just been smooth, stable, and down.
All right, Matt, you have a great weekend. Please share widely with relatives, dead and alive, like a Chicago voter. Thank you so much. MarketVitals.io is the portal.
Bob, wasn't that an 80s band, Dead or Alive? You spin me right, wrong, baby, right, wrong.
Upside down. Ooh, you turn me. Inside out.
That's
and back again. I don't know. I got it. I still got it. The kid still got it.
Yep.
Take it easy, Matt.
Peace. Go Colin Mauer.